This is Jimmy Stevens, owner of Rocky Mountain Live, and I'm here with Noah Isaac. Thank you, Noah, for taking the time to do this interview and being such a great supporter of the new project right out of the gate. Everyone who supports Rocky Mountain Live from opening will be friends of the platform for years to come, and we're stoked to have you on board.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
All right, so we are Rocky Mountain Live, and you are from Canmore, Alberta. Did you grow up here your whole life?
Yeah. So I'm born and raised in Canmore here. Yeah, so been here my whole life, and yeah, hard place to leave.
Perfect. Well, tell us about how the Rocky Mountains have shaped you as both a person and performer then.
Cool. Yeah, I mean the Rockies. I mean, for so many people, they're like this big thing. But I mean, growing up in them, it was kind of just home, right? Growing up here, and for the longest time, I didn't probably didn't know what I had. Until I got a bit older and realizing how lucky I am to grow up in a place like the Rocky Mountains and Canmore here and have inspiration like mountains and valleys and rivers and all that. But so I'd say at the start it was like and probably more subtle influences growing up in the Rockies on my music at least. Uh, like doing sports that I was lucky enough to do and stuff like skiing and biking, I think all kind of translated into music as well here in the Rockies with just being able to control my fear and certain things like that, and that definitely transferred over into performances and everything, being able to control fear and getting up on stage at a younger age. And then yeah, definitely as I got older, uh, realizing, being told how lucky I was by people coming to visit here, and then also just realizing and appreciating how lucky I was to grow up in such a beautiful place. And it definitely ended up bringing inspiration to songwriting in my I guess my late teens and early 20s here. um, and I think especially lately realizing more and more, and just now that personally, like I'm 21 and friends have moved to other places and gone to university outside the Rockies, and I found it hard to leave a place that so many things are dear to me here, and it's definitely influenced my music that way and what I write about and everything. So yeah, more and more value on the Bow Valley for sure.
Yeah, I understand that. I moved out to the Rocky Mountains when I was 19, and at first it was like crazy just imagining people growing up here at all when I came out here from
Yeah,
you know. So yeah, you definitely appreciate it more the older you get, that's for sure.
yeah, for sure.
So just being a Canmore local, who are some of the local musicians, venues, or businesses that have had the biggest impact on your career growth as a musician?
Yeah, I mean, looking back, um, some of the easiest, the starting ones were my parents. Uh, my dad especially, he taught me at first how to play guitar. He was kind of the first kind of influence. But both my mom and my dad have been definitely huge influences just in the music growing up and everything, but getting me into music. And then further down the line, I was taught by a guitar teacher named Luke, and then a singing teacher named Nicole, and they definitely helped progress my music pretty far. Um, and then yeah, venue wise, I mean, there's been so many opportunities by amazing like coffee shops in town here and stuff, but I think I remember one of the first ever venues I played at was this place called that's no longer there, but it was in, I think, the Holiday Inn here in town. It's called Pizza Co. And it was actually at one of my dad was kind of performing at the time, um, with a really good friend of ours now, named Julie Chang, and she was so they're kind of doing their first show at this place called Pizza Co. And they let me open for them probably when I was around 11 or 12 or so. And and that was a really cool experience, and like cool that the venue let me do that too. And you know trust a 12-year-old with providing music for a restaurant. But yeah, so super thankful to kind of them. And then beyond that, Good Earth, I would have to say, was a coffee shop here in town that was on the main street. Um, and they would hold an open mic every Friday. And they were super awesome for getting kind of just local talent, and just kind of low pressure situation that I really learned how to, open up on stage and be comfortable with it, in a low pressure environment that later on down the road actually led to hosting and organizing that. So yeah, those are two really big things. And then more recently, I'd have to say like the Canmore Folk Fest I played at a couple of years ago, and that was a super huge kind of step for myself, an opportunity they kind of gave to me and my brother, who played as the Isaac brothers there, and we it's kind of our first experience as like an actual show at the folk festival, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt. This town does have a lot of support to the young musicians. And the first time I met you was at the Arts Place open mic that you were actually hosting. Anna Sellers is one of our photographers, and she recommended I go down and meet you. And I've been to a couple of them now, and there's a large number of young musicians in town, as evidenced by that. It seems like a family affair, like almost at these Art Place open mics. They're different than any other open mic. You can tell that there's a lot of families that raise their kids inside music in this town. So, are there any school or community programs that developed your musical skills?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah. So it's an interesting when I was, yeah, looking back now. We had music class, of course, in middle school and everything, and so I was a bit involved in that. But for the most part, there's lots of great teachers here in town who provide really cool opportunities with recitals and all of that. So for myself, I'd say the the biggest influences for myself were more close around me, like my family and everything that kind of opened up, uh, kind of introduced me to some people that allowed me to play at some cool places and everything. And then now there's definitely, I'd say, some really cool programs put on by the folk festival. A couple of years ago, there was one involved with the high school, that I helped out with a bit, and it was basically the whole purpose of it was to help young musicians enter kind of the performing scene, and work on their songwriting and to basically develop into that role. And so with that, it was really cool. The Canmore Folk Fest basically through the high school had a bunch of students come together and play at the Canmore Folk Fest, and it was kind of a goal to work up to. So there's lots of cool opportunities like that now. And then of course, like you said, Arts Place open mic is the best place to get practice and kind of face your fears up there, because it's an intense place to play this. Everybody's so like supportive, but they're all listening and watching you, right? So lots, and that's just it. It's so supportive, so kids feel like welcome there and everything. And it's really cool to see a lot of young artists like the Ducks, is a prominent one, that I've really seen kind of like grown and start performing there, and they've really blossomed out into other cool performances. But yeah, lots of cool opportunities.
Yeah, there's so many young musicians in this town. It's amazing. I've never seen it. And those Art Place open mics, they're very intimate, and the way they seat people right directly in front of you, I'm sure is a little intimidating as a young musician.
Oh yeah.
So you mentioned performing with your brother Mica as the Isaac brothers. From what I've seen, it's usually him on piano and you on guitar. Are you both multi-instrumentalists, or do you focus on those?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely say like we focus on. I'm definitely at heart a guitar player, and he's definitely at heart a piano player. But it wasn't always that way. Like growing up, I mean, guitar and piano are both kind of daunting instruments. So we both started on mandolin actually. Easy, just kind of two finger chords and everything. Um, so that was kind of bass, and then a lot of instruments that you transfer. So we try and play as many as we can. He tries to teach me a bit of piano, and I try and teach him a bit of guitar, and it just helps to understand each other and what we're doing too, when we're playing. But yeah, I'd say at the core, definitely like I'm vocals and guitar, and he's vocals and piano.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you talked a bit about growing up in a musical family. So tell us about a bit about how the role of music has played in your relationship with your brother?
Yeah, totally. So yeah, I mean, so like my dad was fairly musical. He grew up playing guitar, and then himself was in a band, or a couple of bands. And then my mom has always taken us to the folk festivals. There's pictures of us as, 1 year olds being at the Canmore Folk Fest and listening to bluegrass tunes. So I think just like that constant surrounding of it has definitely, like, given us either an ear for it or just helped us like be inspired to play more of it. Um, and then yeah, recently, like for the longest time, my brother and I would kind of mostly play separate when we were younger. Just because playing together is a whole new, like, anybody who plays in a band, it will know that, playing on your own is one thing, but playing with others and having an ear and the timing for that is a whole nother. So it wasn't until maybe like 5 years ago that we started playing more together, um, and figuring out kind of like harmonies and everything. And I think, we've always heard each other play. Uh, so he's definitely the easiest person I've ever been able to play music with. But I think it's definitely because we've grown up together. We know every little quirk and how we play and everything like that. So it's definitely allowed us to, I think, harmonize easy with each other and know kind of how to riff off each other and everything like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. You obviously you do a lot of solo original music as well. And from what I've seen, you have a very unique folky songwriting and performing style that you seem to have been practicing for a long time. So tell us about some of the major music influences that have helped inspire your style.
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, back, like, again, listening to music since our mom's been taking us to the folk fest since we were little and everything. But so in that regard, seeing all these like folk artists and everything from, just starting to bigger ones. But that, and also just like old songs. Like my dad was really into, like, the classics like Metallica, which is kind of almost the opposite of what I play now. But also a lot of folky stuff like Neil Young and all that. That I think eventually shaped up into kind of the stuff that I listen to today as well, which is very very, I'd say, reminiscent of what I'm playing, indie kind of folk music stuff. Artists like, I mean, Gregory Alan Isaacoff is an amazing songwriter that I've been listening to lots. He's like an absolute wizard with words. And a big one is the Lumineers are an amazing folk band, anything like that. There's a cool artist called, who we recently saw, actually, called Scott Hellman. He's a Canadian artist. He has kind of upbeat, I could say, storytelling lyrics. And just so, yeah, just constantly through life, like anybody listens to music, just an evolution of different types of genres and everything that kind of, I'd say, is a base kind of indie folk, and kind of evolved into what I write today and what we play.
Yeah, that's awesome. I grew up in the classic rock too. I got Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd tattoos on the back of my
Yeah.
legs. I actually saw the Lumineers right when they released their second album at Deer Lake Park in Vancouver. That was a
Oh,
really
cool.
amazing show. And Scott Hellman, he started touring a lot like 10 years ago, and he hit all the festivals on Vancouver Island. And I saw
Cool.
him at a few festivals back then. He's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. He does a great solo show, is what we saw him, and he's hilarious and just great songs.
Yeah, for sure. So, what do you love most about performing live music?
Yeah, that's a tough question. I think a lot of people have a different answers of it, but I'd say for the most part, like, there's a few things, of course, but big thing is like when you're up to the flow you get into and everything. I like Some people describe it as a flow state, and I don't know if I'd say it's a flow state, but just from one song into the next, you've done all this practice up until the show, you've put the work in, and to just feel that now you can just, like, play those first three songs that are always nerve wracking every time, no matter what. And then to get over that and then just enjoy the performance yourself and playing the music that you love playing, and just kind of let the passion come through in a performance is definitely, I'd say, kind of my favorite part of performing. You know, just it feels like trying to let the fear kind of dissipate and just enjoy the songs that you like playing.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good answer. So you talked about some of your inspirations. Out of all the musicians you listen to these days, who are some of the top musicians or bands that you dream of sharing the stage with?
Whew. If I'm ambitious, I mean, yeah, Gregory Alan Isaacoff would be an insane person to not only play with, but just to chat with and see like how he comes up with so many good melodies and lyrics. Um, yeah, artists like him. There's lots of good ones out there. Zach Bryan, Lumineers would be insane. Ed Sheeran was a big pop artist that I was kind of into for a while. Um, Obviously, those are all big goals, and then there's lots of local artists too that I'd love to share a stage with and just like make a performance out of here, more personally for sure.
Yeah, well, that goes right into my next question. So, which Rocky Mountain or Western Canadian artists or bands do you want to give shout outs to for their work in the local scene? And do you think should be covered by Rocky Mountain Live in the future?
Yeah, in town. I mean, in the Bow Valley, it's crazy how much talent there is here. I could have a lengthy list for sure, but I mean, for sure, a few artists I have to give big props to, not only for influencing directly, like I think, and teaching me a lot about music, um, but also just insanely talented artists themselves is Julie Chang, who hosts the Arts Place open mic, and she just does amazing covers and her own stuff as well. Another one is Kyle Pullen, who is an insane fingerstyle guitarist. He'll blow your mind away with what he does, and you can definitely find his music like on Spotify and everything. And he does just crazy stuff that more people definitely need to see out there. Um, Upcoming, I would definitely say uh, Rocky Mountain Live, and anybody who's in the Bow Valley or even a little further now should check out the Ducks. Uh, they're a group of 14-year-olds here who are just absolutely killing it with covers and originals, and they're like upbeat rock songs, and they're awesome.
Yeah, we got the Ducks listed already. I'm working on getting them on an interview as well, at least Timmy to start out. So yeah, we're working on that one already. What's on the horizon for Noah Isaac for solo projects and the Isaac brothers together in 2025?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for myself personally, I'm just trying to write as much music as possible, and then me and my brother are definitely trying to play together as much as possible and performing. We definitely like playing as the Eyes of Brothers. And for us, I think in the Bow Valley, it'd be cool at some point. The goal is to get kind of like a show dedicated that we can just work on. That's kind of for the Isaac Brothers in town here would be pretty cool. And maybe we can do it with kind of like some of those artists mentioned before, like Kyle Pullen or Julie Chang. So that's kind of something we're hoping to maybe do at some point here. Expanding beyond the Bow Valley, which hopefully maybe Rocky Mountain Live can help us out with and making those connections to just see, working our way into, Banff, like Louise, or the other way into Calgary and everything. So trying to make those connections, and hopefully maybe at some point you'll see some shows of us out there. And then of course recording music, hopefully, and getting our music out there a bit more is definitely a big goal of ours, to kind of put that out there.
Yeah, that's great. That's exactly why we exist. We want to help Rocky Mountain musicians get to other regions, not just in their towns. I found that all the towns within the Rocky Mountains seem to have great localized scenes, but there's also the potential to collaborate in all these scenes and meet some artists over, say you go down to Cranbrook and you play a show with them and they come here and play a show with you, right? Just helps open doors for people and yeah, there's just so many great musicians throughout our communities that I think there's lots of potential for that, and that is exactly why we exist. So that goes right into my next question. Is I said at the beginning, you've been really great supporter of Rocky Mountain Live since before we've even fully launched. full listings go live this week as this will be sent out. So why do you think this is an important project and other musicians, bands, venues, and any music resource business should participate by creating their profiles and listing their events?
Yeah, I mean, right when I heard, I've heard so many times before of people being like, I want to go out on this Sunday and find some live music, whether it's at a coffee shop or whatever, but they just don't know where to look for it. There's so many, different venues in town, all with different Facebooks or Instagrams that they all post separately, and it can be a kind of whether you're in your small town or a big city, it can be a challenge sometimes to find where those venues are at. And I think for that side, as people trying to find and enjoy music, um, I think that Rocky Mountain Live is going to be a great way to just have it all in one place, an easy place to find it. But beyond that, I think you know Rocky Mountain Live is just going to be a great way to connect people who want to watch music, people who want to play music, and venues who want to support it. And I think it'll just be an easy way for people to figure out where to play, who's playing, yeah, venues that support it. So I'm excited to connect with new people over Rocky Mountain Live for sure.
Perfect. Well, thank you for your time today. You've been a great supporter out of the gate. You've been a great guy. You're great to meet, and I appreciate the relationship we're building here with Rocky Mountain Live and yourself. You seem to know everybody in town. Anytime I mention Rocky Mountain Live and what I'm doing, I've been recommended reach out to you and get you on the site like by so many people. And I'm like, oh, I already got them. So I really
That's
appreciate
sweet.
you on board and doing the first interview here. So I'm looking forward to spotlighting you here. So tell us about your next upcoming shows you want to let people know about to go see you.
Yeah, big one coming up is this next month is the warm up festival here in Canmore. So it's put on by the Canmore Folk Fest. It's a night with I think 20 plus artists over a bunch of venues, and we'll be playing one of those venues. So you can follow us on Instagram at the Isaac Brothers _music, and we'll be posting where we'll be playing on that and what time. And we'd love to see you there.
Yeah, perfect. We'll have the warm up festival on the website as well, and we'll be pushing that hard. I've been adding all their featured artists to our story as well, directing people to the post. So hopefully we see yours up there pretty soon.
For
And
sure.
yeah, I'll be at every show I can get to whenever I see you perform. And yeah, we can't wait to get you listed on all those events and get people out there.
Yeah, thanks so much, Jimmy. I'm really excited with what you're doing and everything.